Hey guys, Scott here with another episode of Scott Argues with Reddit. Today, I'm addressing a post about the Dredge. The whole post is just simply a description of how Dredge is a very good killer, and it's partly from the balance, but also the design standpoint as well. He says in the post here that it's overall from a design standpoint, but he partly means performance, but then the entire post is about his power and how good it can be. So it's sending mixed messages, but less addressing directly this post and more I kind of want to talk about Dredge in general. I think Dredge sucks. I think Dredge is not a good killer. He's in the bottom half of killers in my opinion. I think Dredge is one of the most overrated killers in the game. And every time you see some amazing Dredge comp match or something like that, always look at what map it is. I'll give you a hint. Every time it's Midwich. It's literally Midwich every single time. You see an amazing Dredge game against a comp team. It's fucking Midwich every single time. It's really hard to do well with a killer who is one of the most map-dependent killers in the game. And this is why I think he sucks. I would say on the majority of maps, the locker placements are not really good for him whatsoever. On some maps, he effectively doesn't even have a teleport. He's just useless. But even in the best scenarios, he's just okay in terms of locker placements and where they actually get you to. Again, Midwich is an example of a perfectly designed map for Dredge where he can get basically everywhere. He can navigate the floors up and down. There's lockers in basically every room. It's perfect for him. It's literally a school. It was built for that killer. But pretty much every other map, bar a couple, there's a couple of decent ones, even the bottom floor of the game. There are certain maps where there are pretty good locker placements to cut people off. But other than that, one of the biggest knocks against the Dredge is his map dependence is so bad. He is so map dependent to the point where if you load on certain maps, you're just what's the point? I'm not going to empower this game. It's just going to feel terrible. So that's my first major complaint about the killer. The second one is about the locker locking itself. I'm sure a lot of you know by now, if there's two lockers in a pair, which they often are, if you lock one of them, the Dredge will always teleport to the locked locker instead of the unlocked locker. By doing this, it means you can have two separate locks per locker group, basically. So if you only lock one of them and he teleports to it, he's got to claw his way out. And then later you can lock the other locker and he'll still teleport to it and still have to claw his way out again. Now he can go around the map hitting the lockers, but that takes time walking around doing that. And by far the most frustrating part about the Dredge is when you are in Nightfall and you've got the math symbols flying in your head and you see someone running where a locker's about to be I'm about to cut this man off. And you cut him off and you're just stuck in the locker because it's locked and your entire cool play is negated because the survivor went, that feels like shit. And I really wish Nightfall was buffed in such a way that you ignore lockers that are locked during that time. I wouldn't say remove the lock, so when you teleport back to it in regular mode, it's still locked, that's fine. But in Nightfall, you shouldn't still be penalized by lockers. It feels so bad. And that's the main reason I stopped playing him, solely that. Not even the map dependency or anything else. But that feels awful. Additionally, his anti-loop is sort of it's basically a shittier version of the artist. It's a lot easier to make a 50-50 correctly against it because you pretty much just have to guess whether or not he's going to teleport back to his remnant or he's just going to cancel it and then M1 you. Depending on the loop, it's pretty easy to deal with. Some loops he is going to get a hit from it and that's fine because he needs it. But for the most part, there are a lot of powers that have similar kind of 50-50 loop denial that just perform better than his power. So his map traversal is incredibly map dependent. It's hampered heavily by locks, which take zero effort to actually do, and they're also doubled up at paired lockers. And his anti-loop is no better than most killers that have a similar style of anti-loop. So I don't even really know what he's got going for him. Nightfall, I guess, can be kind of nice for not finding where the next generator is. It's not like you're going to sneak up on people in Nightfall because he is the loudest thing in the entire game. So much so that I almost find him easier to track in Nightfall because it removes distant distractions and I can just straight up hear him through walls and stuff. Now, the thing is, if you actually go through and read this post word for word, a lot of this really does seem like it's from the perspective of a newer player. And in that regard, then I kind of start to understand because Nightfall to a new player is a completely different ballgame. You don't even know what map you're on at that point. You have no idea where you're going. It's scary. So against new players, Nightfall is actually a scary and very potent thing. And that can make Dredge seem a lot stronger, because when you're Nightfall, people are just running into walls and shit. They have no idea what they're doing. So in that regard, yes, if you're going in like a lower skill bracket, the Dredge significantly is stronger. And if that is the argument, then I can agree with that, and that's fine. I'm just saying, from my perspective, at a relatively higher skill level, Dredge sucks. He's one of my least favorite killers in the game to play, and I don't even think he's good. Every single showcase I see with him is just on Midwich with the same build, and it's just like, you take him anywhere else and he's just like, oh, he's a wet fart. So that's my little mini rant about Dredge. I know this guy's more just talking about how cool he is in general, and he's talking about the power and stuff like that too. So this is more just a video arguing about the point of Dredge in general being overall a damn good killer. But yeah, I've never liked Dredge since a week after I played him, and I'm honestly so surprised that people even rate him like relatively high. He is absolutely mid at best, in my opinion.